Welcome back to another episode of the Content Era podcast. Got Seb,
Jazz,
and today we have Anthony DiDomenico, visionary artist, owner of One New Era X, experiential marketing agency, singer, songwriter, championing the vision behind the affirmation anthems, and fellow photographer and filmmaker, social media lifestyle influencer. Anthony, thanks so much for joining us today. We're really excited to have you today.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Pleasure to be here with you both.
Nice to see you again.
Thanks for having me at Wake Abroad Media.
All the way from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And you are in?
Hamilton, Ontario.
Tell us about who you are and what you do, in case I didn't do it justice.
I think you nailed it, but ultimately I am an artist here to express my authenticity and joy for the well-being of others.
Take us through your story. How did you get to where you are now? As I mentioned a bit earlier, you have a music career, you have your event and marketing career, and you also have a personal brand going on. So how did you get to where you are now? What kind of challenges, experiences, and stories did you have along the way to get to where you are?
It's a long one, so I'm going to try and do my best to just zoop real quick. But it goes back, I would say, to my high school days. We're always at that age trying to establish who we are, what we're here to do, what our career is going to be. And for me, I was always one that when there was like a problem, I was really open to just like creating a solution, instead of waiting for someone else to do it. And one thing I found, and this is how it started with the event production days for me, was in high school, we used to have proms, but we were all socially networked at that time. So we knew people from all the different high schools, and we were only allowed to bring one guest from other schools to our proms. And all of my friends were like, what is this? Like, we want to bring this person and that person. I'm like, well, let's just create our own prom then. And that's literally how it started. So we were 16 years old, booked a private venue ourselves, like figured out the costs, got a DJ, made a whole evening out of it, sold tickets, and just brought community together to create this like large scale prom with multi high schools involved. And it really hit success from the beginning. So I would say that's kind of how I originally just got into just seeing problems, taking action on them, and again, saw some great successes, and from there kept building that. And then as any business venture, you also learn how to take the hard knocks and the challenges that come up. So luckily I was able to do it at such a young age and just continue learning how to ride those waves of like success and failure, however you want to call it. And then that kind of evolved after turning 19. It kind of turned into like creating new venues in nightlife, because then you're of legal age, you already have all this experience. And at the same time, we created Hamilton, our city's first EDM festival. So it was really in the event production scene. Like, we brought some big artists. Wow. We had over 3,000 people come to our first festival. We raised money for charity. The vision was called Partying with a Purpose. And just from there's this organic ripple, kind of like got out of the nightlife game a couple of years later, just stopped resonating with drinking and that whole scene just individually. And that led into creating a yoga festival because yoga and the spiritual pathway was kind of opening itself to me personally. And then from there moved into experiential marketing, which was kind of all the years encompassed from the learning of that event production world. It was like, wait a minute, we don't need to just do our own experiences and try and sell tickets. We could actually offer this as a service to many businesses who need this, and as well have the capital to put towards it, while still empowering our team to come together and create these exciting immersive offerings. And so that was kind of like my business journey, I would say, very left-brained, solving problems and whatnot, always rooted in community. But it was only until I was, I'd say, 27 years old, which is 2019, where I had this vision for music. And it was something I'd had visions of being a really, really young child, and like honestly buried. It was like, I saw myself on stages, and, as a kid, you're just like, whatever, that's just like, those are impossible dreams, or just random or coincidence. And it was at that year where I was like, wait a minute, like, what if it's actually a blueprint or a pathway that your intuition or something beyond has tried to show you, and you only get to really, I guess, unveil that destiny if you're willing to take a leap and walk that path. So it was just recently that I made that commitment to just like go for music, and that opens another gateway of a story. So,
and you are 31 years old, right?
I am 31 years old. Yes, sir.
So at what age did you jump into this new journey of the music career?
This would have been in 2019, right before COVID, and I was 27, I think it would have been. Yeah,
Okay.
27.
Oh, I don't realize it was that long already. You've been doing that.
Yeah, and it was actually blessed timing because like right when I made that commitment to be an artist, I was like, okay, like you got work to do and you really don't need anybody or anything. You just need to like lock in, and then like that's pretty much exactly what happened. It was like boom, you're not leaving your house, like get in the studio and create. And it was like honestly the focus that I truly needed to just like get me out of like being in the hospitality world for so long, which is so much about like others, how are others feeling? How can you make others feel great in this space? And like it was just like boom, like cancel out the noise. Who am I? What do I have to say? How can I truly, be of service to others through my joy? And that is music.
Wow.
So it's never too late. I mean, we're still young, but it's never too late to start a new journey, especially if you have a calling for it. If you know that deep down, hey, like I feel like I have to do this, it's never too late to take it on and pursue it. And like you said, just focus and give it your all to achieve it.
Love that quote. And you're never too old to start a new dream. And I preach it, and it's important to practice what we preach as well. So yeah, like that feeling, that intuition, typically in my opinion, is something deeper that can steer and to guide us. So take the leap. Don't be scared.
That's dope, man. What are one of the first memory that comes to mind of you pulling an entrepreneurial, like doing something that's entrepreneurial?
The first one would have been back in high school when I think I've shared this story before, but we had proms back in the day, and we had a lot of friends from different high schools, but we were only allowed bringing one guest that we had to like sign a waiver for from a different school, and we wanted all these other friends to come, so we're like, okay, like let's just throw our own prom. So solve the problem with like, okay, well, what do we need? We need a venue, we need a DJ, we need security, we need insurance, we need tickets, we need promotion. We just went through the process, and I think just recognizing that if you put your mind, your focus, your will, and your time towards something, you can achieve it, So that was probably number one for sure.
Wow, what an undertaking for a high schooler.
It helped
amazing.
that number one went really, really well too. It was so well received, and I think that helped also. Just like, oh, like I can do this. That confidence was there. And I know sometimes when it's someone's first venture, maybe it doesn't go well, but I don't think that's a reason to stop either.
So that was your first taste of entrepreneurialism?
I would say yes.
Oh, sorry, let me say entrepreneurship. Yes. Entrepreneurship. And I guess you got a taste of it and it went well. So what else is possible, right? Let's go.
Sky's the limit, baby.
Yeah. I know that previously we touched on some of your photography and video journey and how you got into that. Can you actually touch on that a little bit as well, alongside your music and everything else you're doing now? But you first and foremost, when I first met you, your main focus still seemed to be in video, right? Your agency, and you're also doing some brand partnerships, collaborations with a local dealership, which I thought was so cool. And I never understood how you were able to do something like that. So can you share a little bit more about that?
Of course. Yeah. I think from back in the day, like even before social media became what it is today as like, almost like a pretty corporate platform, obviously, we were leveraging it to help spread the word when we were throwing events back in the day. And I saw how much of a beautiful tool it was to help just, if you have an idea, or you have something you're doing, or you're inviting people to something, it was a great accessible way versus like the traditional form of like cutting out flyers, sticking them on walls, hoping people walk by and see it. Like that's literally what it was, But then you had this like digital world evolving and emerging. And I feel like I was into it from the very beginning. So it was almost like at the beginning when we were trying to inspire like social content for businesses, it was actually difficult to convince them because they're like, what's the point? Like, it's just kids on Instagram. It was almost like it was still growing, right? So I think I just always seen the value because I'd experienced the value. I'd seen sold out events happen that literally just started with a Facebook event page or, Instagram posts that were just getting out, people sharing. Like I've really seen that connectivity and the value of it and the efficiency of it too. So So I think again, it was like truly sharing value to businesses when it was being sold or pitched. It wasn't about trying to like convince somebody in something in like some deceitful way. It's like, yo, this is good for your business. So do you believe in it? And are you willing to hire us to help contribute to your business in this way?
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like a couple of years ago, a lot of the traditional businesses or business owners maybe didn't quite understand social media as well. So that's great that they were able to, take a chance and believe in you and in the service. Would you say it's become easier now or more difficult because of the sheer competition and saturation, I guess you could say, in the industry to get those kinds of partnerships?
Good question. I think it's easier, I would have to say, because yes, it's more saturated, but there's so much more openness to it, and there's a lot of money in a lot of businesses, and ultimately, like, change is good too. It's like you could work with multiple creators as a brand. You don't only have to have one and only one for the rest of your life. It's good to actually, work with multi-creators, and I think that's an important part of what we've always stood for too. Is like we bring different creators into the content we create. It's not always just one artist.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I actually kind of resonate with what you were saying at the beginning about maybe clients or companies not really understanding the power of social media early on. I remember when Twitter was just first on the rise, I used to think to myself, like who cares if I share a thought? Like, and I don't care to read other people's thoughts. And here we are years later, and the people that continuously share their thoughts grew really big, powerful brands. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of power of having that enthusiasm and trying to share it with business owners. And Jazz and I, like, we talked about this, but we see each other, or we see ourselves like as translators for people. It's kind of like social media is a language, and we're translating their skills, their passion, their abilities into a social media language, and into a language that people can understand, people can consume, can get your value, maybe because you don't have the ability or the know-how to communicate through that medium. So really powerful stuff.
Super fitting. It makes perfect sense. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you using social media and content marketing to spread your message, build awareness, and serve other people in your ventures?
I think I guess it's doing my best to allow my digital expression to encapsulate my entire essence as a human being. Like, obviously not everything that you can show that you do and that you are in your daily life, but I think the more parallel that your like digital expression can be to who you are, I think it helps you connect with others that you haven't actually physically connected with, and social media does that. Does have that power. I think we've all experienced when we've seen someone's video that didn't even know us, and we're like, it touched our heart, or it inspired us, or it made us feel something. And like that truly is a magical thing about how accessible social media makes us to each other, which is ultimately human connection. I want people to feel my soul and like my essence, and like they know me, even if they've never actually met me. But the digital capture should encapsulate those aspects of ourselves. And I think part of that comes with vulnerability, expression, sharing certain aspects of yourself on there that are a little deeper than just the polished stuff. But at the same time, like, people have short attention spans, respectfully, because we want to see so much. And I think it's important to also, be clear with what it is, be concise, be intentional with what it is we're trying to show people, because ultimately all they know of you is what you're willing to show them. So I think intentionally would probably be a good word. Consistency is important, but I think intentionally tops consistency, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And authenticity. I like how you hit that point. I've from being in social media and content marketing, talking to a lot of people, I feel like that's the part where a lot of people get stuck, is being authentic, because the question comes up, how do I become authentic, right? But you don't become authentic. You just have to be yourself and embrace yourself, right? And when you put that into your content, that's what speaks to people. I feel like because some people may lack authenticity in themselves, it's admirable to see someone embrace it in themselves and then share it with other people. And I think your content communicates that, definitely.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and I think sometimes people get stuck with that. So a good question is how do you be authentic? I love what you said. It's like just be you first of all. And if you're struggling with what that looks like, sometimes self-awareness is a great practice. Like take some time to actually just reflect, slow down, maybe detach from it for a little bit, and look back on the years of your life, the challenges you've gone through, what you've broken through. Because it might be simple things, but through the experiences you've gone through and broke through, you have value that you could offer to others, or something that you might find passionate about through those experiences that are worth sharing. And yeah, I think just really take time to look at you and who you are versus trying to paint a picture of who you should be or who others think you should be. So I leverage it to share more of me, who I am, the value I have to give and share with others, and also ultimately the legacy I have to leave behind, because I'm sure one day when we're gone, those videos will still be there somewhere that we were all been expressing, including this one. So hopefully we can make a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love the authenticity in your content, how you are bringing us along with you on your journey of this new venture into the music world, into your different partnerships with businesses. I really like the video you made, for example, of the jerk chicken in Hamilton.
Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah?
Island Queens.
So it's like, like eating with Anthony, like you're taking us along with the ride, and it makes the content very engaging, very appealing to watch. And just to watch you grow through it. So I think it's great that you're leveraging social media for your businesses in that way, incorporating your personality, your personal brand into it.
Thanks, man. You got to show it all, even when the pineapple falls off your drink, like it did in that video,
Yeah.
Not just the smooth bites, but yeah, shout out to Island Queens, best jerk chicken in Hamilton. So good.
Oh.
Gotta try them.
Yum.
Yeah.
Next time we're there.
100.
So what platforms are you using right now and why?
Instagram is number 1. TikTok will be number 2, and YouTube will be number 3. Why? Instagram, because it's the one I've been on the longest, most consistently, have the most connection with my audience, most interaction, and just really building a beautiful community through that platform over the years. And I love the vertical format. I like the platform. I do. TikTok, I see the potential. I think it's powerful as well. I'm not necessarily a TikToker who's obsessed over creating that specific hook style content every single day and, posting 4 times a day, but I do see the value in that platform, and I'm open to, if something of mine does catch, then it could open a new audience and a new method. But right now, Instagram is where I put my most, because it is my most engaging audience, and obviously we're putting stuff out so that it can be felt and heard by others too, right? And then lastly would be YouTube, just as the most official platform, I would say, for as an artist, as a musician, to have your 16:9 music videos, like full production pieces that are over 3 minutes long. And, you want to just have that like official brand platform. I do love YouTube for that. And I also have gone the most viral on YouTube Shorts. So I'm quite spread out, but Instagram is my most consistent.
What has the going viral on YouTube done for your brand? Has it, have you gained a ton of, I guess, new subscribers? Have you gotten inquiries or any new opportunities or doors opening?
Great question. I got over 3,000 subscribers just from a one viral video, maybe just under 3,000 subscribers. So it caught really hard. I think, it's interesting because it almost gives you this like sense of social credibility to others too. Like, I feel like a lot of, especially the youth, if they look like, oh, how many views do you have and stuff, it's like there's this subconscious wiring actually that's there. And whether we want to believe it or not, that I think helps validate to others of like, is this worth it or not? I mean, I don't personally agree with that, but I do feel it does have that level of influence in this era that we're living in. So I've seen that ripple effect as well.
Yeah. And even just the follower and subscriber count aside, because you're right. It is a form of social proof nowadays. And I don't fully agree with it either, but it is what it is. I think maybe it's us 90s kids, those of us who grew up before the internet era, before any of these social media platforms existed, that we just maybe have different values, or, you know, our values are rooted somewhere else other than, you know, the social proof. But that being said, it's, you know, it's still great for all of the doors and opportunities I think it can open up for you, because at the end of the day, it's just, it's more eyes on your stuff, right? More eyes on your content. And yeah, the world's your oyster when that happens. So
I had a question. It's kind of like a rhetorical question. I think I know the answer, but what did you do to go viral?
What did I do to go viral? It's a great question. Nothing.
Nothing.
Be myself. Honestly, it was like I saw Walk Off the Earth come out with a track that was good. I like duets. I've always liked the idea of remixing other people's songs in general, and they put theirs out there. I love them as a band. They're local from Burlington. I had a free evening, so it was just this flow of things. Like, I had zero expectations, as I typically don't ever, and I just made it as I would any other TikTok duet or piece of content. Had fun doing it. Kind of got lost in the moment. Took me maybe 20 minutes to write, to record, to everything, and posted it. And you know, it's crazy because sometimes there's things you spend like so much time, money on, and then it just like flops on, like, if you're measuring it based on engagement. And that one was just like a walk in the park, I would say, honestly. But there's something to be said for that. Yeah, I'll walk off the earth. There's something to be said for that, though. Honestly, it's like when we're not looking.
I also think there's something to be said about utilizing public figures or popular names, especially if music is your industry and you use a popular name, and kind of piggyback off of that. I think you could potentially increase your chances of, you know, the video taking off. So that's clearly valid. Done that well. So
you're right. Honestly, it would have been nice. A lot of the comments were people like, "Man, Walk Off the Earth, you need to find this guy, put him on the remix," and like that would have been sick if like the artist who put it out, because I feel like they definitely saw it. I think they had commented on it too. It would have been sick if it kind of leveraged that opportunity where you take like, you know, a digital going viral conceptual thing into like, wow, like because of that video, we actually got to meet up. We had a studio session, like, you know, a friendship gets built. I think that would have been magical. But even still, I'm grateful for how it happened and the ripple it had.
Well, keep at it. I mean, maybe if you make another cover and it takes off, you know, they'll keep noticing it. You know how
Agreed.
They say in marketing, people need to see
you gotta keep,
a piece of content. What, like 7 times or something like that before they, you know, take action or are convinced of it. So
I got 6 more duets to do with Walk Off the Earth then.
Yeah.
One of the lessons that Coach Lenny shared with us during the last podcast, he's a fitness coach on Instagram, and he had a couple videos go viral. He ran an Ironman with no training. Wow. So he put it out there, and he did it in like, I think 15 hours or so, but he completed it. And he said that the videos before and after the videos that went viral all got boosted. So he kind of piggybacked off his virality and continued posting consistently for the next few days on kind of the same topic. And he says it doubled his account followers, and it just boosted his engagement a lot. So awesome. That was a really cool lesson that like we actually made a shorter YouTube video based off that conversation to share it, because, you know, if you go viral, like in a situation like yours, like it'd be great to just kind of leverage that and keep riding the wave, right?
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And looking back, it probably would have been effective for sure. But same thing, I didn't really know what was happening. You know, it was just happening. It's like, oh shit, like, like comments are flying in every 2 seconds. The phone's banging. It's like, you don't really know like when it's going to stop, or, you know, like, should you change what you're doing, or oh my God, I'm going to like change my whole day now, because I just kind of kept going with my life. Like, okay, this is just happening. And I'm going to just observe the ripple, because everything's like a split test ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long have you been building up your Instagram community and presence? I know like as long as I've known you, you've been super active, probably one of the most active people I know. How long has it taken you to kind of get to the point where you're at now?
I would say I was OG. Like I think I had Instagram in 2012 or something, and I pretty much have all my old stuff on there currently too. So you could see the journey, but yeah, I think 2012 was probably when I started, and I think you don't really start seeing it as a business until years later. But again, definitely before, you know, I think their business even saw it as a business. You know, it was just before like ads came out and all that stuff. It was definitely amazing.
Yeah. So having been on Instagram for as long as you have, originally just using it for personal use and eventually using it for your business, what's your advice for other business owners wanting to create content and use the platform to grow their business or scale it?
I think be authentic is number one always. I think it takes a characteristic or a personality type, if you want to call it that, to play the social media world and consistently. And I don't think you should force yourself. Honestly, I believe we could all break through and do anything we want. So if it's truly calling you, go for it and you can do it. It's not about like, I'm an introvert, so I can't be a social media influencer or vice versa. I just think like it shouldn't be forced if it's just because it's the thing people are doing now. You know, if there's an excitement that's gravitating you towards like, yeah, I love going to the gym, and like by me actually filming myself at the gym, I'm going to feel more inspired at the gym. And I love the art of videography that I'm learning as I'm in this process. And plus it's helping me be accountable with myself and impact others. Like all the right reasons, I say like run with it, have fun with it. But I don't think that you need to force yourself to do it just because it's what people are doing, because I think you'll set yourself up for, I don't know, just like not the best state of mind as you approach the journey. It'll just be very like, you know, heavy, probably be the word.
Yeah, it can come off like inauthentic, right? As well, like you're doing it because you have to do it versus because you want to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think a really great way to go about that is actually get on video, you know, and talk to the camera, because how much more authentic can you be than, you know, putting yourself out there in your most vulnerable way, right? Because, you know, just from my experience having our social media agency, we see a lot of businesses who just kind of post, you know, graphics, product photos, or just straight up, you know, just these kinds of ad style posts. And really, they're not speaking to anyone, and you can tell by the engagement or lack thereof. So I think one of the best ways would be for business owners to actually get on camera and talk to people, connect on a more human level, and, you know, talk about your why, talk about your values, your mission, your vision, right?
I love that. And it's fun. You know, you don't have to be the best person in front of a camera. It's definitely a skill set that everyone can develop.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it takes just jumping on that first one and feeling all the feelings that come up with it. Even when you look back at yourself from shooting, actually, I did a lot of modeling portfolios over the years and a lot of shooting. And you wouldn't believe how many people, you know, you hear the quote, we're our own worst critics. I think in that world, you really get to see how many people behind the scenes, like look at a photo of themselves, like, oh, my nose, or oh, my hair here. Oh, you know, and that's not just models. That's everyone, you know, where we always see those fine details, and it's totally okay. But once you recognize that we're all like that, it kind of, oh, like this is actually part of the ride. And it's like about falling in love with that uniqueness in ourselves, that we can just get comfortable to just be like, whatever, this is me now, take it or leave it, you know?
Yeah, you just got to put the reps in. Same thing with going to the gym, right? It's going to be weird at first. You're not really going to know what you're doing. You might look a little silly to others, to the pros, but once you get your reps in, you practice, then yeah, I mean, you're going to get good at it eventually.
Absolutely.
And actually, I just made a reel on this a couple of days ago, but using social media to share value, whether that value is entertainment, authenticity, a tip, or a knowledge or an experience or a story. Sharing that value with people helps people connect with you in return, right? So that's a really good, I think, place to start to get in front of the camera. And then, like, what do you say in front of the camera? Well, share something. Give some value of some sort. Entertain someone. Brighten their day. Motivate them with a song, with a message. You know, inspire them. Like, I feel like that's what really connects with people on social media now, versus just posting a graphic and trying to promote a business or trying to promote something. like marketing has changed. I feel like it's not just here's my product, but you gotta just share the benefit and the transformation, right? How it makes people feel and connect.
Unless you're Apple, of course.
Oh, well, they're in a whole different world.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I agree with that.
All right.
With that being said, how has social media and content marketing helped you grow your online business? Like turning followers into clients, customers, relationships. How have you leveraged that?
I think just from constantly sharing the journey and what's happening, like whether it's an event that we're planning and then you see the after movie or the live stories the night of, or, let's just say that for the first example, then people who didn't come can get an opportunity to feel fear of missing out, if that is what they feel, and then inspired to come to the next one, say, and if they don't, that's totally cool too. But at the same time with video production, it's like once you do client work, you do great work, and share that great work, let others know, hey, we just did this work with this client, check it out. And a lot of times it just organically will ripple to like, oh, like we could use one of those for our brand, or we see ourselves in that style of video, we should reach out. So I'd say it just helps with keeping connected with the web around you and in your community, most definitely. And that leads to more opportunity.
For sure. And you were recently able to do a pretty cool, I don't know if you would call it brand partnership or not exactly sure, but in the Bahamas, right?
Yes, absolutely. That was a brand partnership. Actually, we worked with the Abida Hotel, and it was amazing. I've been saying I wanted to work with hotels, all-inclusives around the world for a while, and the opportunity, again, without searching too hard, actually, it came through divine synchronicity. That was an amazing opportunity, and I feel, and I'm calling in more of those things because it was great.
I actually really love that story. I know you've shared it with us independently, but I feel like it could be a good story to share with the audience. Like, you went on vacation to relax, and next thing you know, you're staying longer in a better room, and you are shooting for a hotel. Tell me, how did that happen?
Thank you for offering, because I did say I wanted to share the depth on this story, so I'm grateful to be doing it here on your podcast. So we, a friend of mine and I were going on a vacation, and it was New Year's. We just wanted to kind of relax, detach, reflect, set some good intentions for 2024, and that was the plan. Place was paid for in full, and upon arrival, we get there, and front desk is just like, we don't have your booking here. Like, there's nothing under your name. Like, what do you mean? Like, we paid in full. It's all here on Expedia. We have it here. They're like, we have nothing. And all of Barbados is booked right now. And we're fully sold out as well because it's New Year's. So we're just like, ooh, okay. Like, here we go. And they're like, do you mind sitting down? And like, we want to figure this out. So we sat down, and it was that moment, the fork in the road appeared itself. It was like, get entitled and angry and get up to that front desk and give them an earful. Or it was like, wait a minute, let's practice these affirmations that we're preaching here too. It's like, everything is working out best case scenario. We don't know where this is going to take us, but let's just allow the magic to reveal itself and trust the process. Sure enough, hour later, he comes in. Sorry, man, we have nothing for you for the next 3 days in this hotel. Nothing. But we have a sister hotel. It's not as high end as this one. It's not as nice, but at least you have a place to sleep tonight, so we can get you in there. And again, instead of being entitled, it was just like, no problem. Thank you for doing your best to accommodate. We're going to get over there. And so they packed our bags, brought us to the second hotel. Upon arrival, we still are chanting this affirmation. Hey, everything's working out best case scenario. Because the feeling tries to creep in where you're just like, damn, like, what's going on? But it was like, no, everything's working out best case scenario. Sure enough, the person who introduced us to our room introduces himself as, hey, I'm Stanley. I'm the marketing manager here at the Abida Hotels. And instantly, I was like, ding, like, I have my camera gear in my bag. This situation has led us to a face-to-face conversation here with the marketing director of this hotel. And so that next day, actually staying at this sister hotel, we're like, why don't we just shoot a video here for fun? Like, let's make a little piece of promo. Like, their Instagram could use some lifestyle reels, and it'd be cool to like show it to them. We did that, and then sure enough, there's more in the story, but ultimately we ended up sharing that on the very end of our trip, and they absolutely loved it. They're like, listen, we would love to extend the stay here, and we could do more of these, and it turned into a pretty amazing opportunity with the hotel, and hopefully a relationship that we're going to continue to nurture together, because I think it went really well for all parties involved.
That's awesome. That's powerful. When life gives you lemons, you made lemonade.
Make lemonade. Yeah. The attitude determines your latitude, they say, right?
Yeah.
Wow, you're full of these quotes. Love
Big
it.
fan.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of power in that, and it's easier said than done. I appreciate how you just had to keep reminding yourself, because I struggle with it sometimes with, you're in a situation, and then when you get stuck in the problem, you fail to see the solutions that you could instead be putting your time and energy in focusing on, right? So it's like, this went wrong and I booked the trip this long ago. Or how can we make this a good experience, right? And as a creative, I appreciate how rather than getting down on it, because when you get down on something, you lose your creativity. I lose my creativity when I'm not in a good mood. I'm not very creative. I don't want a camera in front of my face. I don't want to think about shooting. I don't want to think about editing. I have to be in a good inspirational mood to do so. I need to have that energy. And so to be able to channel that energy into how can we make the best out of this, that's probably where your idea to, hey, let's shoot a video, right? Because why not? And then that energy you put into the video, and then when the hotel managers see it, like how could they not feel that positive energy communicated through the video, right? That's awesome stuff.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, thank you so much. It was truly magical, and it came from the book. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but The Teachings of Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor and philosopher. But the book's called The Obstacle is the Way. And it's basically exactly what you summarized. It's like when something bad happens, it's like the sooner that you're able to open your mind and allow the new potentials and pathways to reveal itself, and ultimately that trust that there's this bigger picture at play that is still guiding you, then you can start seeing where that pathway is trying to take you. But if you're too stuck in how you thought it was supposed to be or had to be, that can be very anchoring and energetically consuming, that you end up missing on the magic maybe that's trying to be revealed. So great book. If you guys haven't read it, or if anyone listening wants to check it out, The Obstacle is the Way.
So one of the reasons why we came up with this podcast is we want to host creatives that are doing what our audience wants to do. And I really want to show them how it's doable, how you can have your business and you can be invested in that, but you can still build a personal brand. You can still be authentic on camera. You can still put out content and grow that side of you. So I have some questions to ask you, just to kind of like paint the picture for the people that are struggling with these mindsets. How often do you post?
A couple times a week, I would say.
And do you have like a posting schedule, or kind of what's your approach with that?
Zero posting schedule, all in the heart. When I feel I want to post something or I have something worth sharing, it just comes up as a feeling. But I'm the 0% guy who has this like content calendar. I've never resonated with it. Feels very forced for me. Not to say it's not strategic and effective. Not saying that at all. I just know myself and the way I like to approach social media, and there's really a playfulness behind it. So I just kind of let the intuitive winds guide me.
Of course, and that's I really appreciate your perspective. I'm kind of in between. I'm a messy, organized person, and when like I get lots of ideas, if I don't have a place to write them down, I will fail to take action on them personally. But you have a commitment nonetheless to yourself, right? That you are invested into. I do want to post content on social media, right? So yes. I guess that kind of balances out the having to write it down on a calendar or something, because you know that when you get creative, you have this commitment to like, yeah, I'll share it, right?
Absolutely, because you want to. It's a playfulness. It's like I'm not having to do anything. It's just like I get excited to express part of the excitement.
And how much time would you say that you spend creating content for social media? Let's say how much time for one piece of content, and then how much time in like a week's worth of posts? It's a good question, and not something I track hourly, to be honest, but hours for sure. Hours for sure. It's definitely part of the magic, and I think we all have an aesthetic and a style that resonates with us, because
Excuse me. Timer. 20 minutes again. Sorry, I forgot to reset that. Sorry. So yeah, we all have an aesthetic and a style, and some people just, again, they don't want to edit nothing. They just want to post it as is. They don't care how their feed looks or whatever. But for me, I think there's an art to that, and I enjoy part of that art too. So it does take more time per se. That clean audio, as you guys can relate to with this really nice podcast production that we have set up here. I think it's important in my expression. So with that comes time, but something that I feel truly resonates with how I like to portray and express my offerings.
Yeah, so I guess it really comes down to there isn't a necessary, a specific amount of time that you have to dedicate to social media, but really the amount of time that is necessary for you to communicate authentically, right? If there is a style, if there is a way that you want to share content, to really like put your time into it, because the end result is people are going to get to see that. And I think that's a really good way of approaching it, not as a task on your calendar and as something to do, but as a creative outlet and a way of expression.
Absolutely. Yeah, those moments that are passing by is our life. So it's like, yeah, might as well do the things we enjoy versus always feeling like we're under the weight of like chasing all the tasks and just like trying to get there. And it's like, well, life just passed through all that. So take it in here and now.
I think I need to take some of that advice into my own life.
You're right beside the beach. That's a simple solution. Just roll out and go for a swim.
You'd be surprised though that it's like the closer you live to it, the less you go because it's right there and you can go anytime. But then
I understand.
Otherwise, it'll take up all
Canada. You need a dose of Canadian winter.
A dose of reality. Yeah.
Quick trip.
Yeah. So then I know that you're not super structured with it, but my next question is going to be, what tips do you have for balancing running a business and managing your socials? Not sure if that's as applicable to you because like you said, you kind of just do it on the go, but nonetheless, it still takes time to create the videos, edit them, and, create the caption and all those things. So yeah, do you have any advice on the balance between the social media content and the business side of things?
I think they kind of go hand in hand, and again, every business is different, but like let's just say a restaurant that's opening, for instance, like your focus is a restaurant, you're here to make great food, great meals, gather community. Yes. That being said, do you want it to be full so that people can experience all the hard work you're putting into the beauty of the venue, the chefs that you're hiring to make it all, et cetera, et cetera? The content expression is almost one with it, the same way you have to get your menus built or have to put your stove in. I see them very they work in union basically, because it's amazing to see the progress and start connecting with your community before the restaurant doors open. And that's actually what makes people like, oh, have you heard about this place? It's not open yet, but like, oh, we got to save the date. When's it opening? Start creating conversation around your business, and social media is so great for doing that. So I would say it goes hand in hand. If you're a business owner and if you feel called to express on social media, because like I said, I don't think you have to. I think you need to want to if you're going to be doing it. There has to be that fire within, or you have to genuinely see the value. But yeah, I think they work very hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
I like that question you popped in there. Do you want to see your restaurant full? And it's, it kind of puts social media into perspective that it's only a tool. It's not a must-have tool, but it's one of many tools that you can have to achieve. If your goal is to have your restaurant full, is social media the right avenue to promote your business, right? And so therefore creating that balance between running your business and promoting it through socials can be beneficial towards achieving that goal.
Most definitely. I think we've all been to restaurants that we saw on Instagram at this point in time. Like 100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's without question. So yeah, absolutely.
Personally, like moving away from Instagram, for example, Google Maps. Here in Mexico, a lot of businesses don't put at least a minimal amount of effort into their Google Maps listing. And I'm a guy that, I want to see your food. I want to see your menu, and I want to see reviews, because that's how I can get stoked. Like if I'm hungry for seafood or something, I want to see it. I want to salivate on my drive over there. I want to be stoked.
You want to see food.
Yeah. But like, it's not there, and it's not there for me to experience. I kind of like, social media in a way, and when it applies to restaurants, for example, I see it kind of like booking a trip, right? When you go to a flight center or something like that, they're not selling you the flight, they're selling you the trip. And they're selling you the trip not just when you're making the payment, the transaction. They're selling you the hype, right? Months ahead. Hey, there's 30 days until your trip. Hey, there's 1 week until your trip. Hey, make sure to have these essentials before your trip. And then after your trip, there's this like high that's left over. That's like, hey, how was your trip? Book your next trip. And so part of that experience, right, of the brand, I feel like a brand, a touch point starts well before they even consume your actual paid product. So seeing those photos ahead of time, seeing those reviews, seeing those videos starts creating that positive customer experience for people ahead of time. Before I even sit down and eat, I'm just like, oh, this is going to be the best meal ever. Like 2,000 people reviewed it. And it just has that much more of an impact on my experience when I sit down and eat. So it definitely a great tool for businesses to create that hype, leverage the social credibility, the user-generated content, cell phone photos of food or whatever, but then to relay that and show people, hey, the community's enjoying this, and you will too once you get here, right?
Agree completely, man. Well said. Yes.
Speaking of user-generated content, I know that that's one of your avenues that you've been doing for some time now. Do you have any tips or advice for someone looking to get into that?
I think once again, you got to find who you are, and that might take stepping back from it all to assess and have some self-awareness. Like, who are you? And for me, you could see it in my content. I'm the, hey, have you heard about this place? But again, that's not me putting on this persona. It's actually who I am and who the character I've developed and grown into from going back to the high school days when I was running events and creating excitement about, hey, you guys coming to this event on Friday? And like, it was always in that energy, and it became very natural to me because there was so much of it. Now it's like, hey, have you heard of Island Queens? Hey, have you heard of Radius? They're opening. That's just like, it's part of just my style, I guess, the signature, but it wasn't really strategic where I'm like, let me look at other influencers and see how they're doing it, and let me like kind of take their persona. It was just like, this is just me and my story, my expression, so I don't need to try and really be anyone when I'm in that moment of capturing the content. So the more you could sink into who you are, and then when the camera's there, be who you are, you'll find that that camera captures authenticity, and authenticity is what people feel. If you're trying to try too hard, people will feel that on the other end, and it takes away, I'd say, the value of the UGC in the first place.
Yeah, you're a natural hype man. That's clear.
I'd called a promoter for too many years. So.
Oh yes, that's right.
I'm still promoting UGC.
Nice.
So I'm curious. We mentioned how you're more spontaneous when it comes to your content creation. Take us through your workflow from, I don't know, you're sitting on your chair and you get this idea to like hitting post. What's kind of that process like in your head, just to kind of paint the picture for people that maybe don't see what things could be like?
It always starts with an idea. I mean, every situation is different, but I like the starting example of, I would say, how I started working with Island Queens. I was actually at an event that we were hired for doing video work and some event production. It was with Go Wrench, and we were in Mississauga, and they had caterers there that were serving chicken sliders. And I had one. They were like, hey, do you want one too, even though you're working? I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take one. Best chicken slider I ever had. I was like, oh my God. Like, I literally stopped everything. I was like, I'm going to the back kitchen and finding who made these to say, you make the best chicken sliders. Like, honestly. So I went all the way to the back, found like, it was like a mom, her daughter, like super family oriented team. And I was just like, I gave them the reference that they deserved and the acknowledgement because they put a lot of love in it, and I tasted that. And then that was how the relationship built. And I'm like, oh, we're opening a restaurant in Hamilton in a couple months. I'm like, I live in Hamilton. Like, we should connect. And then so that organic conversation, and from that organic interaction, it wasn't like, let me scout sales and start reaching out to businesses. It was just like literally through the flow of living life. And then from there, they opened their business. We had connected like, hey, you know, like she saw all the work that we had done from that interaction. I was like, hey, I would love to work with a videographer. So that happened. And then it came a strategy session together, like, okay, we should do some content. What do you have upcoming? And let's just say, for sake of this conversation, they were doing a grand opening event. So then from there, it was like, okay, we know we have to shoot a grand opening event. We're trying to capture the lifestyle, capture the people. Then you get back to the drawing board, the editing side of things, where it's like, okay, now you have a vision. I'm trying to create content that is to help promote this exciting new business, showcase different people in the community enjoying it, showcase the food. So it just kind of this like organic ripple. I don't really think I sit down. I'm always like, this is the lane I take every single time I sit at my laptop, right? Like if it's user generated, my own thing, it will be a entirely different approach. So I don't know if that answers your question. Hopefully.
Well, yeah, on the commercial for business side, definitely does. Let's touch on the user generated side of things. You can use, I don't know, maybe the video, the walk up the earth video. How did that idea come to mind? And then like kind of like what was your process to hitting publish? Because we know the result now. So it'll be really cool to dive into what the process was like that ended in that result unintentionally, right?
Absolutely. So the same thing I would say with an organic flow of life. I was just scrolling through TikTok. I saw them drop a new cover. It was a new track, and then they were promoting it by doing a TikTok duet. And I was like, oh, what is this? And then I liked the song, and then I saw there was an opening. I had an open evening that night. So I was like, I literally from seeing it, went right down to my laptop into my studio and just like started writing. And I'm telling you, when I say it took like 20 minutes from start to finish, it just streamed right through me. It was like, honestly, it was just meant to happen. The whole lyrics to the verse came through, the melody, like as I was listening to the beat, I was already hearing the way that it was going to go. I didn't have words yet. Got in the studio, typed it out word by word, and then I was like, okay, laid it down with my phone on the mic. I was reading it. I didn't even have it memorized yet. Captured a video, second take while I was recording on the mic, just so I had that B-roll of me capturing it. And then just went literally into Final Cut, which is my editing platform. Cropped the video down, chopped me in with Walk Off the Earth, added the words on screen so people could hear the message that was also being conveyed. And then I think I uploaded it right after that. It wasn't like, oh, I got to wait for this time to post, because it was just like just go and done and move on with life, honestly. And then I think I woke up to it being like, holy, like
million views later.
Yeah,
wow.
I was just like, whoa.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's really, I'm always curious into peeking into how people's workflow, how creatives' workflow is, because from an outside perspective, it can be like, oh, that must have taken days, or that must have taken half a day to do. But yeah, 20 minutes. When you get into your creative flow, you're passionate, you're authentic with what you're sharing, so it comes really easily. And you just lay it down and like, boom, there you go.
100%. It was playful. Like that's the best word to describe the feeling throughout the creation. It was just super flow, super playful, and I think that was what was felt in others.
So what from the technical side, what show us like, or tell us like, what camera do you use? What's your go-to camera, and microphone and lights? Like what are the different pieces and tools that you use to be able to create content?
You're going to love this. So firstly, I don't know the name of my lights because I'm not that technical. I just got some good lights that work great. I actually don't know what they're named, what model number they are, but some solid lights. One's right there. And I shoot on the Sony a7 III. We have an a7 IV as well, but I just don't like the switch menu. So I've always just loved my a7 III, and it's like my baby, you know. I dance with her. So when I'm shooting, I really love the a7 III. Couple lenses. I think you definitely need a nice 1.8 at least aperture so that you could have that bokeh background. And that lens got me through a lot, actually, especially when I started. So if you're getting started, I definitely recommend that, and you could use it for a lot of different things. A 50 1.8.
1.8.
And
my
what
favorite
else?
also.
Microphone.
Yeah, microphone. I think these are what do I got? I think these are Rode. They're the Rode mics. They're wireless. I don't know what they're called, but they're little and they're wireless.
Go.
And you could also connect Wireless Go from Rode. You can connect the lavs to them. I like holding them too, and instead of holding like a giant microphone, sometimes I just like that little concealed look of just holding it to my mouth. And that's pretty much my gear.
And how do you feel about using your phone to record videos?
Phone to record videos, I love it, but the camera definitely makes a difference. So I price those packages differently when I'm offering them, even for user-generated content. If I'm pulling out the a7 III with the lenses, it's more technical or more work. The phone has its own feel to it, though. Don't get me wrong, and it shoots amazing. I don't have the newest iPhone yet. I'm planning on upgrading soon, actually. But I've been getting real far with the. I got a 13 Pro Max right now, and it's been doing amazing content with me, actually. So can't go wrong.
Ooh, yeah.
That has the cinematic mode for video, right?
Yeah, which I honestly rarely use, but yes, it does. You know, the reason is because I have spiky hair, so the digital depth sensors is not as precise when you got like hairlines. It's like it goes all pixelated there. So
apparently they've improved it a little bit on the newest one.
Yeah, if I get
we'll
the new one, I'm sure.
Damn,
but still, I feel like it can't quite beat the camera bokeh, right? The 1.8. I mean,
it's amazing for what it does, but yeah, I agree completely. It's like the Sony is definitely a magical tool.
Yeah.
And what software do you use to edit?
Final Cut Pro X.
Final Cut.
And I got different apps. I got CapCut. I got InShot. So depending on what I'm doing, I dance between the platforms for certain elements. But Final Cut Pro is my, I'd say my most typical, what's it called? Industry standard platform that I spend the most time on.
For your social media content, do you usually put it through Final Cut, or do you run it more through CapCut or something like that?
If I'm just throwing like captions on a clip or something, I'll just run it through CapCut. If I'm doing like multiple like layered tracks and, you know, getting into some sound design and stuff, it's definitely, I like being on the laptop and kind of setting up with a good posture and diving in like that. So.
And do you have someone that helps you record? Just to contextualize the question, I saw a couple of videos that you shared on Instagram of your band playing. And back when I used to play in a band in the high school, university days, we were lucky if somebody out in the audience had a camera that was decent enough to record, maybe with like a DV tape or something, and forget having an external microphone. But the quality that you have for your videos, it's tight. So like, what are kind of like the tools, or does somebody help you record? Is there an Sony A7 III at the back, and are you getting your audio straight from the soundboard, or how does that work?
Yeah, so every show is different, but with my years in event production and my also recognition of the value of content creation for building a brand and sharing a story, I see the value. So we actually hire videographers for our shows, and we also have people in the crowd, because back when you had a band, you probably didn't have iPhone 15s in people's pockets shooting 4K anyways, right? So that's just everyone's normal phone almost now. So you get a lot of great B-roll just from the crowd, which is sweet. But we do make sure we have our own guys. I have my business partner, Kai, is an amazing videographer, storyteller, cinematographer. So he always supports with things. And yeah, for that show specifically, the most recent one, we had Joel, one of our artists, but we got quite a network. So depending on the project, depending on the availability, depending on the style and passion of the different artists, we kind of curate based on that. But for this most recent one, it would have been Joel and Kai who captured the content. And then audio wise, thankfully I brought my laptop, had Logic set up, and we had the whole set tracked out. So like drums were mic'd up, multiple. We had multiple guitars, vocal mics, background mics, everything was. So I haven't dove too much into mixing on that, but it's just great to have that stuff, especially when, you know, our vision now is to get into festivals, to spread this vision further. And they're not necessarily at your show to judge your experience. So it's more about how are you conveying what you're delivering in a way that you can showcase them respectably. So we have a whole electronic press kit that has some videos, tells our story. And yeah, for me, that is a big part of the value of continuing to build the journey.
Yeah, sorry. I think this also ties into what you're saying before, is like for the people that weren't able to go see you, you're also catering to that and to be able to show them and join in on the experience.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, you're like documenting your journey, right? You could also just be on stage and not pay somebody to come and record, but by paying someone to come and record, you now have really good content of what will one day be the early days of your band, right? So that's pretty dope.
Yes, sir, man. And honestly, even all of our rehearsals, I record full on my phone, and it's like hours of gigabytes of footage, and I just throw it all on my hard drives. But I watch it back too, because not only from a marketing perspective and getting other people involved, but from a self-learning perspective, like it's so powerful, as we've all seen, even with any type of video. When you watch yourself back, like, oh, I would change this next time. And it's a self-awareness that continues to build as you like face yourself head on, ultimately what you're doing when you watch videos, right? So, and sometimes you have those moments where you might cringe a little, like, "Ooh, why'd I do that?" But it's okay. It's like that's how you're gonna learn. But if you just kind of don't realize you're doing that, then maybe it'll never change and continue to get better.
Exactly. I heard someone say a good quote. If you don't cringe at your first, I don't know, 10 to 20 videos, then you're not growing. Or your early videos, you're not growing.
Yeah, you got to keep moving.
All right. So just kind of like a hot seat. So iPhone or Sony A7 III? What do you prefer?
iPhone.
How
More
could
accessible, more in the moment, less to carry around, like especially if it's traveling and stuff like that too. I think it's an amazing tool. You can get quite a long way with it.
Fair enough.
All right. You own a phone, but you don't have any other camera related equipment. What is the first piece of equipment that you get? A mic, a camera, or a light?
A mic.
A mic. Why is that?
Because a light is the sun and a camera is the phone.
That's it. There you go.
Wow. So true.
Favorite platform for growth?
Instagram.
Okay. Favorite platform to consume?
TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Interesting. I personally like YouTube.
Really? Nice.
TikTok. Yeah. I mean, they both take a lot of time, but I guess TikTok, you can consume more content than on YouTube.
It's quite intelligent, TikTok. I found it really does like know what you want to see, and it feeds you more of that. And I find Instagram knows me pretty well for how long I've been on it. I'm like, why am I seeing this? You know, it's like, we know you're listening. Like, at least use it to your advantage and give me some good stuff.
I'm just trying to sell you stuff nowadays.
Best project you've worked on?
Best project I've worked on? How do you define best?
The one that you've had the most joy in completing.
Oof. Music. With
the band currently?
Yeah, with the band and just the whole vision. Affirmation anthems is just really sparking my soul right now.
Worst client experience or experience with a client?
Club owners. Certain club owners have had some I would say greedy past experiences that didn't resonate and where I didn't get my value seen or recognized. Meanwhile, I know I brought a lot, and it was hurtful at the time, especially being young. And sorry, my phone was just randomly ringing. Especially being young, but yeah, I would say club owners or certain ones were my least favorite experiences.
Favorite genre of music?
Sorry, that being said though, the club owners being the least favorite experience, obstacle is the way. And it was the guidance to me that told me to step out of the nightclub scene at that point, because that chapter had come to its completion. And if that didn't happen, I might have just kept milking it because, say, it was profitable or it worked well. So, everything happens for a reason. No hard feelings. What was the other question? Sorry.
Favorite music genre?
Pop, punk, electronic.
Okay, punk electronic.
Is that how you would describe your current
actually, it's a pop.
band?
I would say when I like say it's pop, punk, hip hop, electronic combined. I like pop, punk, electronic as separate genres, like Blink-182 being pop punk, for example, and then Avicii being electronic or Kygo. But our sounds kind of swing some of those in with the hip hop element as well.
Cool. Do everything yourself or outsource what you would otherwise have to learn?
Or you're not an expert at?
I think it's good to do everything yourself at the very beginning of your journey, because then you can get good at outsourcing and delegating because you know how to communicate well and on the same wavelength, or else you end up going back and forth because you don't understand something well enough. So I think starting days as a sole entrepreneur, it's great to just try things, learn things, and there are certain things that just definitely don't resonate. Outsource. For me, accounting, day one, not my thing at all, and that's okay. But I think we just got to recognize those elements in ourselves, what you want to handle and what you want to pass forward.
Yeah. That being said, also besides outsourcing, there's also mentorship and coaching and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can learn absolutely.
Learn it yourself or mentorship.
Learn it yourself.
Learn it yourself.
Partly comes from mentorship, depending on who you're learning from, right? Because these are mentors in a way online and stuff. But yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it for the hot tea that comes to my mind. Do you have any hot tea?
BMW or Audi?
Audi.
Audi.
Wait, haven't you been driving a BMW?
I was, but I have an Audi now, and my first car was an Audi A5, and I'm back on an Audi right now, and I love the brand, I love the vehicle, so
nice.
Yeah. It's
is
clean.
Is that part of your partnership still, or?
It is, yeah. I've been working with Audi Hamilton here, and that was part of our arrangement too, so love working with them.
Dope.
Epic.
Team Audi.
Yeah, I literally don't know anyone else who does that, so that's so cool.
You create content for a dealership?
Yeah. We create content for Audi and Volkswagen Hamilton on a local level.
Dope. Awesome. How'd you land those deals? You went in and had chat?
It started actually from an experience. We did a New Year's experience back in 2020, and we had reached out to Audi and Volkswagen as a sponsorship because it was a Cali vibe themed New Year's. So we had a backdrop that was including like the Volkswagen van, like that OG Cali vibe van, and then that was how we met the owner. Super great guy, great team. Visionary himself as well. Like he likes trying new things, taking that next step forward. And from that relationship opening there, I was like, hey, like we also do video. I noticed your guys' Instagram. Would you guys be open? And then he was willing to give us a try, and things have gone really well since that. So been nurturing that one for a while. I'm very grateful.
Nice. Okay, one last one just in relating to social media. You already asked Instagram or TikTok, right?
No, I asked favorite platform.
Okay, let's just say Instagram or TikTok.
Instagram. Unless I go viral on TikTok, that might change.
Reels or carousels?
Reels.
All the way.
All day.
All day, every day. Okay, awesome.
So Anthony, you had a video that broke 1 million views. It went viral. Tell us how that happened.
I'd love to. I feel like there's even more value to share with this story to those listening by actually sharing what happened a week before that. And I'll do it concisely. So a week before that, I had a video that I shared, put a lot of love into it. It was a music video original, and it got absolutely blasted by a random troll on TikTok. They were just throwing shade, just, oh my God, why do you even sing? Zero talent, just coming at me. And I was like, whoa, when you see that, like feelings can come up, but it was like, okay, like this guy's obviously dealing with something because I do not even know who this is, whatever. I didn't let it get me down. I didn't even delete the comment. I was just like, okay, like, appreciate your opinion. Like, thanks for letting me know. That's it. A week later, I do a duet with Walk Off the Earth, and it goes absolutely viral. Over 1 million views in like less than 2 days, I think it was, 48 hours. And I just feel like the biggest lesson in teaching in this story was the comments, first of all, got absolutely railed with like, oh my God, I found you first. How are you not famous? How do you not have 1 million subscribers? Like people were just going at it like Walk Off the Earth needs to work with this guy. What's going on? And it was just so much love ultimately. And it's amazing because it's the absolute polarity of what that other guy was throwing. And had I given up or let that person get me down, I maybe wouldn't have gotten up to post this next video only like a week or so after. And I think the teaching, once again, is just to don't let the opinions of others get you down. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but ultimately we got to just stay true to who we are. And even if the haters come or throw shade, typically it's not something that you're doing wrong. It's something that they're dealing with in themselves. So all you can do is really just send them love and keep going on your journey because you know why you're doing what you're doing.
Yes, man. I couldn't agree more with that.
Thank you,
Great
man.
story.
Thank you. Great question. Thank you for asking.
Love the takeaway from that as well.
Definitely.
Little nugget. Hopefully I kept it under 130.
Yeah.
So we can always speed it up. No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
So just some concluding questions here. What's your advice for I'll split this up. What's your advice for musicians trying to build a name for themselves? What's the number one thing that you've learned through what you're doing to help you do that they can do as well?
Fall in love with the creation process. Take time to yourself to discover who you are, what style you enjoy, what you want to share, and don't listen to the noise. And capture lots of content, like capture your rehearsals, capture your, post little videos of yourself, share the stories, like just get yourself out there, because ultimately how you're going to open opportunities is from people likely seeing you digitally first to then book you at their show, or even come to your next show.
Yeah, documenting the process. There's a lot to be said about that.
Yes, and like you said, that's how you're going to create an true Hollywood story one day too, with all that behind the scenes magic.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for business owners who are contemplating whether they should invest in building a personal brand, put themselves out there or not? What kind of takeaways can you share with them?
From your experience?
I think make sure your passion is driving you. Make sure you genuinely want to do something from a space of excitement. Don't let profit be your only driver, because life is what's happening as you're working through all those days and nights. So like make sure that you enjoy life, because it is here and now. And I lost a loved one, my uncle, just recently, and it's just that constant reminder that like life is also fragile. So as much as we want to plan our 50-year plan, sometimes we don't know how long our plan is. So live it fully now, and you gotta love what you do to truly be great at something as well, or else you're not gonna want to put in the time.
Yeah, man, that's deep. That's
My
true.
condolences
And
to you.
condolences too, man.
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. He's here with us for sure. I feel that.
Mm-hmm. As a, okay, I got one more question here. So, as an experiential marketing agency owner, what advice do you have to other agency owners that are building their space in the industry when it comes to social media marketing? If that makes sense as a question.
Yeah, so
No.
as an experiential agency, we're different because it is experiential. A lot of it is physical. It's that event production side, that interactive art installation. So immersive is a strong word that I stand by. And like even as my background in the world of hosting festivals, it wasn't just about your vendor space, like having a nice banner on it. It was like, how are you connecting with your people? How are you giving them value? Same way it works on social media. It's the same in person. It's like, nobody's going through Instagram thinking, who can I go support today? They're thinking, what's in this for me? Like, what do I want to see right now? What's going to make me laugh? What's going to teach me something, right? And then the same works in the world of experientials. Like, if you're doing a condo launch party and you're trying to sell something, it's not about, hey, look what we have that's so cool that you should hear about it. It's actually about like, hey, look what we made for you to interact with. That's going to help evoke this emotion in you. And this emotion is actually linked to the production that we're building in this whole new survey or complex. Okay. And then people like, approach it from a heart open space versus just like, oh, I'm being advertised right now. And we've all been bombarded enough over the last, how many years with our advertising world that just like, yeah, immersive means a lot. And I want to add that is why I think the gift of what we've designed and what's come through us to design with the affirmation anthems, it is an immersive activation, and that is how we're planning on selling it to festivals worldwide. It's like we got a 1-hour set where you're not just coming to watch us perform live as you would any band. It's like we're actually designing an experience that's call and response, in engaging the people in the crowd so that we could collectively experience this vibe together, through added layers of breath work to slow things down, through added layers of little activations that happen with each other, and then ultimately through great music as well. So I think immersive is just something that we all need right now in this world to really spark our hearts.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's very innovative of you. I love that.
You're
Thanks
getting me
a lot.
stoked to see you guys live when we're in Canada next.
I appreciate that.
when
Yeah,
you guys
gotta
are touring
come.
Mexico.
I appreciate that. Oh yeah, I'd love to come out to Mexico. You guys got some good festivals out there, so I'll have to book something. If you know any people, we'll slide out the EPK right now.
Yeah. Cool.
I would say let's wrap up with what's your vision with your business and music in 2024?
Great question. My vision with my business and music, I would say with the business, I want to really step into that scalable growth. I want to delegate and continue to find other masters, people who are passionate about the world of experiential marketing that could continue growing and building something that we've put a lot of love into over the last years and built a client base for and worked with some amazing brands. I would love to allow others to carry that torch so that I actually can step another foot out of it ultimately while still being invested in part of its original vision. So therefore I can move 2 feet into the music vision that I feel like right now I'm on that 1 foot in both right now, and I need to be, but like my soul is calling me to make that leap as well now. And my vision with the music is to just build into more festivals. We did 2 events recently and they were really well received. We were super grateful, sold out crowds. And I want to just continue tightening up that offering, getting onto worldwide festival stages so that more people can hear and experience the magic and the power of affirmations and the music that we're creating. And then ultimately get into the school board as well, because I feel like the youth is, excuse me, what's our timer? I feel like the youth is a very important market segment, not from a business perspective, but from a heart perspective, especially post-COVID. Like these kids, self-esteem is on Maslow's hierarchy of need, the step before self-actualization. So if we, as the generation we are, help remind others of all that they are and that they can break through the hard knocks too and achieve their dreams, so go for them, I think we can really help make this world a better place. And what a great age demographic to learn that wisdom of believing in yourself before entering the real world, as some would call it.
Wow.
That's awesome, man.
Beautiful.
We're stoked to see you grow, flourish, and follow you along your journey.
As
Thanks
I am with you
that.
guys. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for holding the space to allow me to share some of this and put it out there into the ether.
It's our pleasure.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
We will chat with you soon.
It was a pleasure.
Cool.
Awake Abroad Media, you guys
All right.
rock. If you guys want to check me out, I would love to connect. My name's Anthony DiDomenico. You can find me on Instagram, will be my #1, and you can see my link to my music platform through there, as well as the experiential marketing One New Era X. And I would love to connect. All the love and thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Content Era podcast. If you enjoy this conversation and you want to hear more stories from other entrepreneurs, make sure to click that subscribe button. If you enjoyed it, click that like button, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yes.